Well, at this time, we're ready for another panel. And this one is going to be, I think, really, really unique and interesting because it's a combination of things that are not residential. So this is called the Outside the Residential Box panel. So we're going to look at property management, land, sales, and commercial. So at this time, would Kevin Kellogg come up? Where are you, Kevin? All right, there he is. And Kevin is with Logical Choice Realty Group based in Cape Coral. He's been in real estate the last 10 years, and I did meet also his wife and partner, Ramona. So we're glad you're here as well. He says his real estate career started as a teenager when he offered his neighbor his lawn services. And the neighbor didn't go for it, but this one was persistent. Left his information, followed up, did all those good things. Yeah, followed through, and he ended up with a client, and that turned into him understanding more about what it really takes to have customer service. So he started that with his own real estate business, and today he has investors and real estate investors and relationships all over the world. So he's learned how to make those relationships work. So if you'd like to have a seat, we're going to have Lori Zobel come up. Lori is, pardon me, her career spans over 30 years at Zobel Real Estate, Inc. And she is the broker and president also of Asset Marketing and Property Management. And I like the abbreviations. It's AM/PM Rentals, so that's cool. Lori's father started the business. His name is Robert Zobel. Many of you from Charlotte County may know him. He started his business in 1965 up in New York on Long Island and moved the entire family down to Port Charlotte sometime after that. And that's when Lori became a part of everything, and you learned by his side and all of his experience. And so Lori is very experienced herself. She's been in the business for what, about 35 years?
High school.
Yeah, so just a couple years ago then. All right.
Listing letters.
At 9, you did his listing letters, so that's what you call being born and bred a realtor. That's it. Lori, we're glad to have you. If you'd have a seat. Okay, and next we have Lindsay Harrington. Lindsay was with Harold Goff Realty for part of his time, and now he's with Coldwell Banker Realty for as much as I've known him, which has been many, many years. He's been with Coldwell Banker. He specializes in commercial, residential, sales, and leasing, commercial leasing, as well as vacant land, agricultural, and investment properties and acquisition. Lindsay has served twice as director of the Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Northport Board of Realtors Association. Boy, that took a lot of time, I bet. All right.
Easy days.
Easy days. And he has been a repetitive $1 Million Club winner. He's also received many awards with Coldwell Banker and the prestigious Presidential Elite Award. We're very happy to have you with us.
Thank you.
And so he's going to really be talking about land and agricultural and what it takes there. And we also have another specialist here, and this is Randy Kreis. Randy is the broker owner of Kreis Commercial Group, LLC. Chris.
Everybody does that, don't worry.
They do that? Oh, Chris, all right, it's Chris, thank you. In Fort Myers.
In Fort Myers.
Okay. In addition to being a commercial realtor, he's also a developer and a property owner. And his bio was so interesting. He's on the Port Authority Board. He's on all of these advisory committees. But I also thought it was important for you to know that he's on the board of directors of the CCIM Institute, which anybody in commercial realizes that is a big deal. And he holds the coveted CCIM designation. And he advises the Institute on governmental affairs that affect the commercial real estate throughout the United States, not just here. So what a distinguished panel we have, and we are so excited to hear what you have to say. And Deanna is going to take it from here.
Thank you very much.
All right.
You guys can share copies.
Thank you.
Is this on?
Hello, test.
Hello?
Test.
Am I not?
So hello again. We'll get started on this awesome panel.
As Kay said, we've got 3 subjects to cover: property management, land, and commercial. So we're gonna put Lori and Kevin on the hot seat, and we'll start with property management. So we'll start with Kevin, and we'll work our way over. What did your journey of real estate look like? How did you get into property management?
Well, hello everyone, and thank you again for this opportunity. Really, believe it or not, got into property management because of Randy Chris on the end down there. Randy was a broker of record for another company, and they needed a property manager. Never managed anything before other than my own home, and it was an incentive to get started with him and move my license over there. So that's kind of how it all got started. So we grew that from 10 doors up to 35. And a little bit later, we kind of realized we could do this ourselves. And that's when we created Logical Choice Realty Group. We've been doing it for the last 6 years. Like they shared, we have multiple investors all over the world, and most of them have never seen their property. And something that's been commonly spoken all the way through this morning is customer service. And that's exactly what we do and how it sets us apart. It's about that relationship and going that extra mile.
Thank you. Lori, can you tell us a little bit about what your real estate journey has looked like that's brought you into property management as well?
It's been a life situation because my dad, Bob, started the company back in 1965, and we moved here in 79. I worked there all through high school, graduated high school, and got my real estate license and got my broker's license 2 or 3 years after that. So the property management came along because when the real estate market changes, and I mostly sell land, we specialize in land, so when new construction changes, people still need a place to live. So Dad started AMPM Rentals in 1996. Currently we're a small office, it's just me and my brother, and I have an assistant, an amazing assistant, Michelle. We manage 100 units, and they're all annuals. I do a few seasonals, but I don't have any right now, which I'm perfectly fine with. Perfectly fine with. But yeah, so that's how we got started.
So to the both of you, what kind of qualifications or certifications would both of you recommend to anyone that's thinking of starting a property management company? Because I know it looks real good on the outside. I have a little bit of experience. I've worked for Lori at one point, which introduced me to property management. So I know there's a lot more behind the scenes that goes on than just having property management. So what would you recommend or advise certifications, qualifications to those that are
You have
thinking
to
of
have a
entering?
real estate license to do property management. Some people, as you probably have run into, don't think you need to do that. But other than that, if you're going to do associations, you need your CAM license. I don't do associations. And I don't have any other
Certification special?
Just because I've been doing this forever, I don't know putting a certificate behind my name is going to make me a better realtor or a better property manager. That's just old school. That's the way Bob did it, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Right.
So.
Right, Kevin?
Feel exactly the same way. Again, the biggest thing is you got a lot of things you have to deal with, and you have to be flexible. You got to be understanding and understand what they're going through and explain that, hey, I can't make this happen overnight, because most time they want it fixed right then and there, and there's processes to go through. So you need to be able to get their mind at ease that it's going to be taken care of, and there is a sense of urgency, but there are procedures and things that we have to go through to get you there.
Sure, because they're trusting you with their property, the owners. What is the current rental market, question of the day? What does the current rental market look like for our clients? And what would you say is the best strategies to help the clients find rentals?
Well, the rental market, it is, if you will, out of control. It is really high, it's really hot, very good for investors right now, but it really makes it difficult for some of residents as well right now. Market as hot as it is, if you do find something, you need to have a sense of urgency and act on it quickly, because if you want to wait 2 or 3 days to think about it, it's going to be gone. Mm-hmm. Presently, we turn everything in less than 30 days. Most of the time, I can tell you, we have a property right now that's under rehab. We've already showed it multiple times. All I have left to do is clean it and hopefully move this young lady in. So again, a sense of urgency on all sides, as in getting them listed and having the person, when they look at it, to make a quick decision.
So as we all know, the market's crazy. I have owners that, most of our owners and tenants have been with us for a very long time. So I have some owners that are raising great rents, and there's no law in Florida that there's a certain amount you can raise them, even though tenants seem to think that are raising rents $500 to $700 in a month when their lease ends. That's the biggest crisis, is these families. How can they do this? One of the things I would say to anybody looking for a house, when you see that hit the market, be diligent, be proactive, call me. Don't just email me, because I have, I don't know, 20, 30 emails as soon as it hits the market. And because I own Zobel Real Estate, and AMPM is a separate, complete company, I'm allowed to put my rentals in MLS. I tried to join the board under AMPM, and I'm not allowed because it's not, I'm technically a real estate company. As soon as they hit MLS and hit Zillow and 2030 in your email box immediately. So my suggestion is to any of your clients who are looking, call, besides just email and everything else. You want to get you in front of me or him as quickly as possible.
Kevin, you kind of touched on the investor market. What does the current market look like for investors? And I think from a property management standpoint, it looks pretty good.
Presently, right now, with all the new construction, everything that's going on in Northwest Cape, is a very hot market for the investors. They're coming in here, and we're getting properties ready to be occupied by that new resident at CO. We start marketing them probably 30 to 45 days before it's even ready to go, before we even have that CO in place. So it's created a seamless transaction from new build to working with the investor to placing their new resident.
So are there any new laws in any areas, for example, short-term or seasonal rentals, that agents should be aware of to extend to their customers?
Well, one of the biggest things, if you do get into this, and you're probably going to ask me this later, so there's a company out there, and I don't know if you use them, Heiss Weiss, and, well, okay, so he's an amazing attorney. Its website is vic.com. He puts out all this information for us all the time, like when COVID hit, how we had to handle things. But one of the biggest things is the only way, okay, if you're a felon, I have to rent to you unless you're a sex offender, have had a meth or grow house. Other than that, any other felony, I have to rent to you. And HUD just came out with this situation that now they formed some kind of committee that if we don't rent to somebody based on their felony, we are going to be charged with discrimination, us. And then that's also going to incur fines, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of fines. So that's a little difficult, and it's a little difficult with our owners going, what do you mean you got to put this guy in my house who, but that's one of the newest things that I know about.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, that really does make it hard with some of the laws that are changing, with some of the issues that some residents potentially have in their past, because you can't discriminate against them. 1 in 3?
1 in 3.
Because those numbers being as high as they are, it does make that hard. We want to fill a vacancy. We all want to fill a vacancy, and you can't discriminate. So it is a really difficult call, and you've got to do the right thing.
Well, I appreciate you guys' expertise. Obviously, you have two experts in the front of the room for additional questions, and like Sherry and Kay have said, if you have additional questions in the property management space, please utilize the post-its on your tables and put them on the parking lots in the doors, and we'll get an email out like Sherry had said. So thank you guys both for that. We're going to move into the land space now. Laura, you got the mic, so you can start us off. What, other than Bob, what intrigued you about land? Why is that a specialty for Zobel Real Estate that's sustained for so long?
I like working with new construction. I like working with clients, going out, showing the properties the different ways that they can place their house. If we get a corner lot, sometimes you can turn it this way. If you get a double lot, you can build in the center of the two, what trees they can keep. I know how much roughly fill and clearing they need, what I mean, I've met such amazing families, and I'll run into them in the grocery store. Unfortunately, the only way I remember them is by their street name that I sold them a lot. Because I've been doing this for so long, so I'm like, what street? Oh, yeah, I remember you. So yeah, I just like the new construction. I like helping them build their dream home. And sometimes they don't realize if the power pole's on the left side of the lot and their model has the garage on the right side of the house, their garage is going on the left side. So there's like these kind of things they're not aware of that, you know.
That you can educate and help them see that vision. That's awesome.
How many of you have been in the business over 40 years? There's 4 of us in here. When I started out, you only had a little book, and you took notes, and it was just that elementary. And so you sold residential, you sold lots, you sold commercial. You had to do everything in order to live, to survive. In this marketplace here in Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda at that time, Fort Myers was probably totally different because it's a bigger city than we were. But you know, you just had to do anything to survive. I was selling lots for $1,500. And I loved that 10% commission of $150. But the groceries were $10 a bag, roughly, or even less. So you could survive and survive well. But it basically was one of survival's how I really got into it. And then at the time, my father-in-law at the time, Harold Goff, over in Palm Beach, had a reputation of being an acreage person. And he had sold a ranch at the time, and probably still is, between 2 owners in exchange. It was a 90,000 acre ranch sale. And it was east of Arcadia on Route 70, what is now Bright Hour Ranch. And Mr. Goff sold that, and of course made history in Florida at that time. And so we retained back the south 60,000 acres after they sold the north side off to the Freeman brothers out of Miami. And there's another name, the old name around here. But anyway, we had that opportunity with Goff Realty to market that, and I got into the business. And once you get into the acreage side of the business, there are questions that are going to come up, and you got to arm yourself. So I had to research and that kind of thing. But I found it interesting. I found it really interesting because I got to learn the history of the area, especially the old families here. I mean, our history here runs back over 500 years, documented history. But it's just one of those things that I love being outside, love the outdoors. I'm from a farm family, and so that was one of the reasons I sort of generated that way. But it was helpful because my father-in-law had really made an inroad into selling acreage here in Florida from Palm Beach.
Nice.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, my journey was, I guess, a little unique. I'm from Marietta, Georgia. That's where I grew up. I've been down here 21 years, and I love it. But Marietta was, when I was in high school, it was very rural. It's Cobb County. Many of you know that. There were a couple 100,000 people there. Now it's well over 1 million. I always had an entrepreneurial mind and wanted to be an entrepreneur, and everybody says land's the way to make money, or real estate. And I agreed with that then, I agree with it now. So I was going to be a teacher and a basketball coach and family business, you know. And when I was graduating college, I had an opportunity to start a little night babysitting business. And I borrowed $2,000 against a Datsun B210. If I lost it, I was bankrupt as a 22-year-old. Well, it took off. I started making money. Over the years, immediately after 4 months, I had $8,000 in the bank, and I went and bought a baseball field in Georgia. I said, that's going to be my summer day camp, because, you know, I'm a dreamer, period. And it was 6 acres, and it had an actual backstop, and, you know, the guy wanted $30,000. I said, well, would you own it finance? And they go, yeah. 1/3 down, and I went, 1/3 of 30 is 10. I got 8 in the bank. I just started my business. It's 23 with 5 down. And guess what? The guy said yes. I own a baseball field. You know the naysayers in your life. My mother, she was a wonderful lady, never took a chance, you know. Depression people, oh, no, no, no. You just started your business. You can't do that. No, no, you don't need that. $236 payment for about the next 10 years. Never missed it. Used the baseball field 4 or 5 times as additional collateral for banks. Built a little daycare business into 8 buildings, 8 beautiful schools up there. Loved the business, making money, started buying real estate, owned the buildings, you know, so I was kind of in the real estate business that way. And then I started investing, and all the politicians loved me because I went around buying these corners in Marietta that were out in the wilderness that are now urban. When they ran, hey Randy, can I put my sign on your property? They loved that. So I said yes, and I had all kind of friends up there. And then the daycare business got to be just terrible. You know, it just government intrusion, lawsuits everywhere, just, you know, just crazy business. And so I sold them all, moved here. Had a good time, you know, just come on down. So I said, well, I'm going to be a real estate guy, a real estate guy. Up there, I kind of bought and sold and thought I knew the real estate business. I didn't know. I never lost on real estate, but, you know, you could have thrown a dart back then like you could have done here 7 years ago, and you couldn't miss. Okay, so now I come down here and I say, you know, if I'm going to be a broker, I better think about how to actually be a broker. So I got involved with the CCIM. I got my designation. It made me see real estate in a completely different vein. How real companies look at real estate, how they decide what to buy and where to buy and how to make money and how to guarantee it's going to make money. I was buying stuff just hoping. Well, when I'm advising somebody, I pretty much is supposed to be an expert and assure it. Like when you give them a house, you certify that that thing is quality and they're paying the right price. Well, we've all got that burden.
Yeah.
So I became a CCIM. I've had great time here. We all went through 2008. I went from making $1 million a year to $70,000, getting audited by the IRS. Waited 5 years, my phone not ringing, started working again, started buying it on the way up. And happy days are here again, just hoping we win in November.
Thank you.
I didn't recover from that. What do I say now? Have a nice day. How do you suggest to residential agents with little land experience how they handle a client who may be interested in making large land purchases?
Well, I could be smarmy and say send them my way, but, and we do referrals though. You got to know what you're talking about. Like, for instance, I had some client call me that they bought this lot from an agent that's attached to the back of a commercial tract of land, and who wants to live there? Nobody. So you really need to know what you're doing. You need to know, and don't trust MLS, no offense, but I can't tell you how many listings on lots I see that says it has public, city, and water, and I know, no, it does not. So you need to be in touch with Charlotte County, City of Northport, their websites. I still have the old maps, the water maps. I do. I use them too. I know, but sometimes you just can't get out of my way. But yeah, you need to be so informed. You need to know. I used to walk every lot. I mean, I wore boots and jeans, and I was in every lot with my clients looking for turtles, looking for nests, looking for heritage oak trees, because those are very costly if somebody needs to take one of those down. So yeah, you just have to have a lot of knowledge. Watch your flood zones. Now we have to do, and I know there's builders still here, about these stem walls, because the floodplains have changed and we can't get the slopes we used to be able to get with just dirt. So now we got to do stem walls. I mean, you're looking at $30,000 for something like that, probably more than that, I don't know. So you just have to do your homework. be extremely informed, because there's too many clients I've worked with that an agent was like, oh, I'll just sell you, and no offense, but they didn't do their job properly. So we want to protect our clients. Oh my God.
Kevin, Lindsay, who, everybody? Did you want to touch on that?
Don't do a whole lot of large lots, anything large, acreage or anything. Most of my stuff is residential lots. But if I was approached for that opportunity, I would reach out to Randy Chris for direction. And I know that he would guide me the right way and we would make that happen.
Yeah,
Go
and
ahead,
same thing
Pastor.
with
Yeah.
me. If anybody ever needs any help, call my office anytime. I'll help you, guide you, no problems.
You hear what she's saying? That, in my opinion, that's the most important thing that we as realtors can do, is take that wall down of competition. And I've had people call me that are other brokerage offices and say, do you know what this is worth? I'm thinking about buying it. And so you know what I do? I tell them what I think it's worth. You know, if you help them out somewhere down the road, they're going to say, you know, Lindsay helped them, or Randy helped them, or Lori or somebody helped them, you know, and just pass it forward. Pass it forward. What I would suggest, if you're in a business, you need to go to a specialist if you don't feel like you can work with it. You need to go to a specialist. And if you go to a specialist, get a referral, and if they're going to make a presentation or whatever, ask to go along with them. Pick up what you can. You want to learn about the business. And at some point, after you've learned and done your research and acquired the knowledge, and you got to do a lot of research and reading. We're blessed here in Florida to have the property appraiser's real property information sheet. Not all the time is it accurate, but if you go to that sheet, a lot of your answers about your listing is there. What you got to do is you got to take the subjects and research them, and then make sure when you list the listing, put that truth that you found out about the property, put it in the listing. How many listings do you read that have one sentence? That's a residential lot, has one sentence. It's a place for your dream home. Another trite statement. It's used over and over again. It's nauseating, guys. It really is. But take some time and think about the lot, and because it's going to get seen by hundreds and thousands of people on the internet. You're selling yourself, and what you put in there is reflecting back upon you. And so make sure you fill that out completely. And if you run out of things to say, see what the neighbors put on the lot down the street. See what the guy behind you's got on, you know. He's borrowing your stuff, you borrow his stuff, okay? I'm just trying to give you some incentive here of how to push this along, you know. But really, I think sometimes referrals is the best way to handle that. And then go along with the realtor who's making the presentation and learn from it. And like I say, after you acquire the knowledge, take a step forward. But the key thing is, like Lori said, you know, on a lot of these properties, even lots, you got to start walking them. You got to know what's on the land. You got to be able to, after a while, you acquire the knowledge. What's a sensitive piece of property? You see a blue indigo snake. Uh-oh, you got a problem. You know, you see a gopher tortoise. There's another problem. You know, so you got to learn to look at. You see certain types of plant life. That's another issue. So that's why you need the environmentalists to come on the property and give you some advice about what's going on. There's another subject you use when you're looking at acreage and land. It's called the Florida the Wetlands Mapper. You can go to it, and it can show you the wetlands on your property. Now, some have been mitigated over the years and been changed, and the maps are not updated. So you might want to have environmentalists come and do an analysis on the property. But you know, you need to look at that map. It'll help you a lot on the lot. And then that also affects what you tell the client what the property's worth. If that piece is wet, it's not worth $15,000 or $8,000 or $25,000 for a lot. It's not that value, and so you may not want to even take the listing. You know, I mean, I've refused it because I know I'm just picking up maybe a future lawsuit kind of thing. But just learn as much as you can, and then when you feel you've learned enough, then you can take that step forward. Like I said, start out residential, maybe move into commercial, and then acreage is really a big step. And the key thing is knowing your residential zoning. It gives you the reasons that what you can do with that lot. But then it has two other things called special exception and conditional use. Maybe your client falls in a special situation, and it can be done. You just got to go to the county and ask for permission. Because guess what? You just sold the lot. So just, read the zoning and know it like the back of your hand. When you get into agriculture, it lists hundreds of uses. In Charlotte County, agriculture is probably one of the most liberal zonings that we have. But, you can only put one home per 10 acres generally in Charlotte County once you get outside of town. And there's some other rules that come into play for smaller lots, and you'll learn that in time of how those can be built on. For instance, out 25 miles east of town, they're acre and a quarter lots. They're not 10 acres. But you can build on them because they were created back in the 1960s, before zoning was even applied in Charlotte County. And you go to Lee County, it's a different situation down there. Their zoning is so old that you can have industrial in the neighborhood nearby a residential home. It's a real challenge, and Randy's got a heck of a job in that business.
Here's what I say. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Okay? You can sell a residential lot. In general, you're not going to get yourself in trouble. They can look at it, it's an acre, it's whatever, they can walk it, they can see, but there's still pitfalls all over Florida with the water management, with the wind problems, with the gopher turtles, with the burrowing owls, with every other thing that you can fall into. I'm a developer, and I know how to develop a piece of land. And trust me, you don't. No matter how much you think you do, you don't. You say zoning, they come to me, residential agents come to me, they say, well, it's zoned commercial. First step. You can't do anything on it that's commercial unless it's properly zoned. Now, getting it rezoned is a process in itself. 8, 10 months, no problem. It can be done. Get your engineer day one. Don't take the liability. Yes, you want to buy 10 acres? Spend some money. I'm buying a piece of land. You guys all know it. I'm under contract, closing September 15th, I think. The first piece of land on the left going into Lee County. It's there in front of Heron's Glen. Alan, what's his name, has it for sale. Alan Gruber, great guy. And it's 2.73 acres of virgin land that looks like, the way God made it. I can't even walk back in there to walk on it. It's just too dense and I don't want to. But it's 2.73 acres zoned commercial. Now, I look at that lot, and I'm getting it for a great price for a lot of reasons. I got to put a bridge over the thing. Will the DOT let me? I got to make sure that it's entitled the way I want. Entitled means what can you build and what will the county let you build? And what are the standards? And how much water mitigation do you do? Right now I'm trying to build apartments downtown Fort Myers. They can't give you water. Now all of a sudden I'm held up months at a time because they cannot give you a water allocation. You don't have a water allocation, Swift Mud won't let you make the application for their stuff. I mean, you start pulling your head out with this governmental stuff and it's not going to change. I think it's Article 11 of the Realtor Code says if you're not competent, pass it off. Take your 25% referral that gets, I pay them all the time. And be happy that you don't have that mess of something you're not competent on and you're going to get yourself or your people in trouble. And if it's a residential lot, have a nice day. If it's 2 lots that are going to get split, have fun. If it's 20 acres and they're actually wanting to build something there, or they're going to put an industrial building or something that businessman wants to use, pass it off. I'm begging you. Not for me. I do my own thing. but for your sake, I've gotten in trouble more times trying to make a little bit of money when I was incompetent.
The other thing is access. Some parcels you look at and they look wonderful, and there's what I call a spike strip of maybe 5 feet between you and the road. And if you don't know that, engineer hasn't told you that, you just sold somebody a piece of land they can't even get to because there's a spike strip in there. And it was done for a purpose. In the past, somebody got in an argument, or in the past, somebody asked you to help pay for the road, and you refused to, and guess what? He says, you're not going to use the road since you won't pay for it. So you got to look for these things, and they're out there. Right now, I'm doing a lot of consulting. And one of the things I just was working on, and I just got the agreement yesterday, was obtaining an access to a landlocked piece of property. And I was asking for an easement, and he says, no, let's do a swap. So we're doing an equal swap of land off the parcel that has the road frontage, in turn for a swap off the piece, the guy in the back. Everybody's happy. Agreement signed. I just got to find a surveyor to do the work.
Yeah, they're busy.
Yeah, busy. You're busy.
So apparently we have a wealth of expert knowledge up here. I would definitely record their names, talk with them. And again, like I said, if you have additional questions for them, please list them. We're going to move into the commercial space before we run out of time. So we'll keep moving along. And anybody that has anything to add, jump in here. So moving into the commercial space, what geographical area are you most familiar with? We'll start with Lindsay. What geographical area are you most familiar with, and what is your experience in that location? For
Basically,
For commercial real estate.
for commercial, basically Charlotte County, in US 41, city of Punta Gorda. Historically, I've done a lot of leasing here in recent last 2-3 years, but I've more or less getting away from that now. Ron Struthers and I were partners, and if anybody knew Ron Struthers, he was a CCIM in our community here. He was just top drawer. Matter of fact, #1 producer with Coldwell Banker nationally, one of the, I think, top 3. Excellent agent, and very methodical, and all computerized. Nothing was paper. Everything was computerized. But I'd say my specialty has been basically here in Charlotte County, and I have done some experiences down in Collier years ago, but it's all basically here at home.
Okay, Randy?
I'm Lee County, and I've just become a Charlotte County guy because for the last 5 years, at least, really 6, I guess, I've been telling everybody, because of my experience seeing what happened to Atlanta, and I know the population increase of Lee County and Charlotte County. I've said to everybody I know, North Fort Myers is going to merge with Punta Gorda. There's no doubt in my mind about it. So you want to make money, go out there and grab a piece. Do you know, go start calling. Every piece of land between Punta Gorda and North Fort Myers has been sold or is under contract. I'm talking every one of them.
Or under plan development.
Oh, yeah, so many of them are under plan development. There might be another one that somebody speculated and is reselling it at this point. But I promise you, every piece. Now what's happening? Tucker's Grave. They talked about it in that first panel that I saw this morning. It's going to happen. They cut that road into the 505 acres in the back of Tucker's Point. Well, guess who came up here and bought 4 acres right across the street before Tucker's Grave was even there? I got 4.2 acres at the corner where the light's going to be. Total luck. Okay? In one way, it's total luck because you say, this close to I-75 and 41, everybody from Cape Coral goes Tucker's Grave. If they're leaving here, it doesn't take a rocket science to say if you've got enough time in life, you should be able to make money, right? So you use your intelligence, you use your road stuff. I'm on this MPO Citizens Advisory Committee. Get on to something. I see every road that's going to be built in the next 20 years when it comes to the 10-year plan. Lindsay used to do this. When it gets on the 5-year plan, they start engineering it. When it gets on the 3-year plan, they start buying the right-of-way. 2 more years, they start building it. Now you got 2 more years, right, before the road is actually there. But guess what's going to happen? I drove down this Notre Dame road right there at the end of Tucker's Grave. I didn't actually realize you could get through to Burnt Store, right? Hey, it's 1.9 miles from 41 to Burnt Store. I know that the government owns the right of way through Tucker's Grave straight to Burnt Store. And it's on some kind of a road plan to build it. When, who knows? But guess what? Turn right, go up there and turn left on Notre Dame, you're at Burnt Store. I read the last couple of weeks that I think it was D.R. Horton bought 304 acres, 984 homes, about a mile south of Notre Dame. Where are they going to go? They want to go to the airport. They want to go to the interstate, right? Where are they going to go? They're going to go turn right, go up to Notre Dame, go across Tucker's Grave, or turn left and go into Jones Loop or something like that. But their traffic is going to definitely increase dramatically. And when I moved 21 years ago, when I moved to Lee County, the population was 350,000. Now it's like 800, I think. We just hit 800. So that's more than 2 times. Get ready. Everybody wants to come to Florida.
They do, and they're not stopping.
When Lori and I moved here, I think it was, when I moved here in '79, it was somewhere around 60, give or take, maybe 10,000 people. But it's
That's
changed
when I
that
moved
much.
here too. There was nothing here. We had a great time growing up. There was all kinds of places to go play and hide and hang out. And yeah, there were no street lights on Kings Highway to Arcadia. It was crazy watching this grow up. So yeah, do you have something to add, Lori?
No.
Oh, okay. So can you relate the residential market with the trends in the commercial market? How they relate or the differences? Can you do a comparison for us?
I did an analysis this past week on a bunch of subdivisions, especially in the south end of the county, and some of the values have jumped anywhere from 50 to 83%, I think it was. I compared the last 180 days to a year ago, a year back, and they jumped unbelievably, and it's all because of Tucker's Point and other developments, water and sewer lines being put up to connect to Tucker's Point, the progress down 41. Like Randy said, it's going to happen, and so you're going to see, as we start seeing residential fill in, commercial's going to go up in value, and the demand for it's going to go up. It's going to happen. And then after demand comes and those buildings get built, they're going to need people to work in those shops and work in the businesses. And so there's a multiplier effect there that happens. And the only one thing that I feel sorry about our county, we just don't have enough industrial land in Charlotte County. I think Lee County is more than adequate. More than it's hurting too.
No.
But I think Charlotte County needs more industrial so we can have shops and other people can have, blue collar jobs better, kind of thing. But
I can chat about that quickly. Lee County right now has 11 million square feet of industrial, either just online or coming online. Most of it's in the Alico area and over by the airport. Okay, you say, well, plenty of industrial. No, that's all user driven. Amazon's building 1.5 million square feet up on Martin Luther King. There's no opportunity for that plumber to get 5,000 square feet with a 3/4 acre lot to park 7 trucks, is there? No. The rates are through the roof. I'm seeing them even this morning. I got 2 things while I was looking. One of them was 5,000 square feet at $10 a foot triple net. That means you pay all the expenses. Another one was 9,300 at $9 a foot triple net. The cost to do business industrial is through the roof. There's no availability. I went to a thing in Lee County last week, 1.76% vacancy rate in industrial in Lee County. That's no industrial available, nothing. And Charlotte's just about as bad. You can't go find anything. The opportunity is here for someone to go get 10 acres, build you 4 little 5,000 square foot, put your street in, give them some parking lot. You'll be totally successful. as long as you're halfway where somebody can get to. There's no mystery. You know how you make money in real estate? You buy it. Right?
Yeah.
You don't talk about it.
Absolutely.
You get your name on the title. You bought your house 5 years ago. It's worth double today. If you just stood there and said, damn, that's a good increase. But you didn't own it, right? Oh, the prices are terrible, but you didn't buy any. Okay, great. Join the club. Do whatever it takes to get your name on the title. And then, hopefully, I mean, right now, okay, prices are like back at 2008 and they're starting scaring people, including me. So you got to look for that value. If you buy property that you know is under market, then you say it's a good deal, you can make money. Generally, if you got to get out of it, you have that cushion. It costs money to get into a piece of property, and it costs money to get out of a piece of property. You cannot do this no money down, this stuff on the TV. It's all BS. It costs you money to get in, it costs you money to get out. If you pay more money than it's worth and you have to sell it, you have guaranteed you're losing money. Maybe not a lot. But who wants to lose a dime? You should make money on property. Buy it right, sell it right. Don't worry about if somebody else made money behind you. Right? Take that money and go buy another one. And then after, 40 years, you own a whole bunch of it.
Randy's right. The only way you're going to get ahead unless you're a multi-million-dollar producer and you're making some really great money and you got a great relative. There was a realtor with Randall Realty. Many may not know the name, but he was buying houses and mortgaging them, buying houses, mortgaging them, buying houses for cash. Last I heard from him, which was a few years ago, I think he had 12 homes. He's fully retired now. But I'm sure those houses are paid off now. He probably bought those houses at the time in Charlotte County for $75,000, $100,000, maybe more. But guess what? What are they worth today? They're $250, whatever, maybe $3, whatever. But he's sitting in what we used to say high cotton. He's in a great situation. But I know of another case, a guy paid $10,000 for 10 acres. Got an offer the other day for $300,000.
Wow. So yeah, we're gonna finish this out with commercial, but we're gonna do a little comparison. So talk a little bit about how due diligence differs from residential to commercial. And then we're gonna ask about leasing commercial versus leasing residential. So we'll start with the due diligence difference.
All right. No comparison. None. You sell a house, you get them a home inspector, it's already built, so you know it's able to be resided in, especially if it's a resale, even if it's a D.R. Horton brand new build, you know you can use it. Every piece of commercial land, you do not know whether you can use it or not. You have to go find out if you can use it for a lot of reasons. First thing I do, I pay $1,500 or so to an engineer and I say, give me a due diligence report. What is the zoning? What's the flood zone? What's all of that stuff that he does every day? I don't try to go look at a book. I couldn't tell you where it's at, right? I mean, pay the guy. Get it certified. He'll say, he knows. You use somebody that's local. He knows the county's position on different commercial areas and stuff. So now, you do that. You have to have a phase 1 environmental inspection. Generally, the bank makes you do that. Phase 1 just looks at the historical perspective, $2,000 to $3,000 or more, depending on the size of the property. If there is a problem, you have to then do a phase 2, which I've done, but that means you got to drill wells and dig. I bought a piece down in Fort Myers that it had been filled in. I did the phase 2, but now you gotta go take a a backhoe and go around. It's 36 acres. You have to dig 12 feet deep all over the property and say, what is actually down there? What's underneath? It was filled in. Did they do construction stuff that's gonna make you a problem when you build, or was it rock and dirt? In general, this was fine. Okay, then, let's see, you must have a survey. I wouldn't let them buy a house without a survey. People do it all the time, but I would not buy a piece of property without a new survey. It tells you encroachments, it tells you if the neighbor's fence is on your property, it tells you everything, and then it's certified. This is what I own. There's no mystery. You don't have to get out there and fight over whose line is where. Let's see. Then, your lawyer. Don't buy a piece of property without your lawyer. Right? Right here beside you. Don't matter if the title company's closing it or the seller's law firm's closing it. Your attorney. He looks at your documents. He says what ran into one yesterday, or last week, had to go to a hearing in Fort Myers yesterday for the people. I sold him the piece of property. It's a nasty building off of Swamp Cabbage Court. And it had sat there vacant for like 6 years. And the company that owned it was from Canada, and they bought it in a portfolio sale in like 2012 or something, and never saw it. Never did a thing with it. And it was in good shape in one way because it was a well-built building that was a surgery center and a big building. But the mechanicals were shot, the roof was starting to have problems, homeless were breaking into it and living in it. There were some problems and nobody wanted to buy it. So this lady comes along with a charity. Okay, now you're really pulling at your heartstrings, right? It's called Our Mother's Home. And they take foster girls that are pregnant. And apparently when girls are foster children and they get pregnant, the foster parents don't want to deal with them, and there's a number of people that they just say go somewhere else, we don't want to deal with it, enough to have somebody that has to take care of them. And so this building had water in every room from exam rooms. So now you got where you can get a drink or you can wash your hands, and there's like 20 of them, and you're going, this is great. There's another silly rule in the state that says if you're 18, you can't be housed with the 17-year-old. So today you're 17, tomorrow's your birthday, you have to go somewhere else with their own separate entrance, not on the same entrance and segregated. This had an upstairs that was pretty big, the doctor's quarters and the break room and a bathroom up there, and it was perfect for them. They jumped on it and bought it for $500,000. Guess what? There's a deed restriction that says no residential. How do you get off a deed restriction? I didn't know it. Okay, it wasn't my place to know. I just selling the place. You know, they did their own deal because they're trying to save money, over a couple $1,000 on a lawyer. Well, we got it resolved, but it took some real work, and the Property Owners Association and everything. But guess what? You're going to love this. The agent that represented them, her one and only deal in life. Okay? She already quit the business and moved over to Miami. This is only like 4 months ago. We did the closing May, whenever that was. But guess what? She had no idea to even think about looking at the deed. Right? So is she competent to do that? No. But she had a friend who said, hey, I need this, and she's brand new. Oh, let me get that for you. Let me get that for you. And she did. And the commission was like, I don't know, 6% of 500, 30, 15 and 15. So she was happy days on closing day. But guess what? She was crying last week when she called me and said, we got to fix this.
A lot of challenges, a lot of challenges.
So due diligence is obviously vastly different than residential due diligence. You know what you're doing. Do you do leasing, and how does that differ from residential leasing?
Yes. I've gotten out of it here lately, but Randy.
I have 51 rentals, and it's commercial. I do not do residential any way, shape, or form. And I am a leasing expert. You know how I got to be a leasing expert? Doing it over how many years. But I learned how to look at a lease from an owner's standpoint. Most of the time nowadays, I'm doing the leases for me to give to them. So I know what I want in it to protect me, but I'm not representing them. And I'm a smart guy about real estate, and all of a sudden they're going, well, I didn't know I had to pay that. I didn't know I had to do that. Well, I don't cheat people. I'm fair. I give them more than I take, I promise you. But you have to have standards. You have to say the sign has to be this way. You have to make improvements by code, or you get in trouble as a property owner. You just can't let people just do whatever they want, and then they bother other tenants, so you have to have a pretty tight lease. And when you get to this thing called CAM, which is called Common Area Maintenance, that's where you pay a percentage of the overall cost to operate the building based on the percentage of your square footage. So if you were 10 holes in 10,000 square feet, you each had 1,000 square foot holes, you'd all supposedly pay 10% of the operating costs. Okay. Now, the people don't quite understand what makes up CAM. I do. I'm sitting on the backside paying the bills. So I want the garbage in there. I want the parking lot lights. I want the landscaping in there. I want the cleanup guy. I want everything I can get in there. If you look at a big lease, like a big shopping center that's a big company that has them all over the world, you'll see like a 5% management fee. Okay? Then you get into ones where we used to own, we just sold it after 16 years, Miracle Plaza right across the street from Madison Mall, and we had David's Bridal. Well, when we bought that center in 2006, I was just getting my CCIM and learning all that stuff. Well, we bought it, but guess what David's Bridal had? A CAM cap. They couldn't be raised more than 5% a year. Well, what happened in 2007 to real estate taxes and insurance? They doubled. They were 20% of the center. So when the taxes went up 40,000 and the insurance went up 30, that's 70. They're supposed to pay 14,000 more a year. Well, they were 5% year over year. They ended up paying like $1,200 more dollars. Who eats that $12,800? The landlord. But in a public shopping center, they say, Publix is the anchor, or Walmart might do this. They're the anchor, and they may not pay all their CAM. So we're allowed to spread it out to the other people. So now instead of your 10% you're due, you're paying 13%. And if you don't know how to read those leases and look at them, you're not doing your client right. So I look at it, if I'm the owner of the property or representing the owner of the property, I have one way of looking at the lease and what I want in it. If I'm the representing my friend who's wanting to lease it, which I've done, then I know what I don't want in it to protect them. And sometimes I'm up against people that own the property, but they don't know as much about leasing as they think they do. So, right, you can help your friend then and keep them out. And then, just like Kevin calls me, they call me, Randy, this is what happened, what I need to do. Put it in writing, don't hold the rent, pay them the rent, put it in writing, get a paper trail, you'll burn it. Right? Because you got to know what you're doing. Anyway, it's important, and I don't mean to monopolize.
No, you're fine. We have one final question. We have to do a wrap up. So, knowing that our real estate license allows us to operate in the commercial world, what steps, educational courses, processes, etc., do you as a group recommend to an agent who would like to get started in commercial real estate?
Well, first thing I would do is familiarize yourself with the business, study, look at the MLS, talk with people who are already doing or have experience in the commercial field. But bigger yet, CCI is a designation that you need to have. And I know people right now in the community right now, especially with our firm, they're working on getting their CCI right now. Ron Struthers, my partner, was a CCI.
He was on my board for
They were.
years.
Yeah, and he was the president of the board in Fort Myers for years too.
He was.
Great guy, but one of his understudies, she's working on her CCI right now. But you've got to familiarize yourself and see if that's where you want to go. If you're doing well in real estate and residential, and you're focusing and you got your marketing area where you're going to focus on. Maybe the comfort level is stay there and become a real, champion for that area or whatever. And if you want to broaden out, but you explore it first. Explore it, look into it, read about it, talk with people. You got an association of realtors who's got people that are doing this every day. Sit down with them, take them to lunch. They'll talk with you. They'll help you. If they're good people, they're going to give you some guidance. They may say, walk softly. Ask a lot of questions, and then when you feel this is comfortable, then go ahead. But an education, certifications are the big thing, guys. I think the best thing I ever did for myself years ago when I got into business was to become a GRI, and it taught me how to determine values on homes and everything. That was a good step for me. There are other great designations in the residential area. I never got into ALC, which is Accredited Land Consultant. And I wanted to do it and explored the idea, but at the time I was too busy trying to support a young family and everybody, and so I never did it. I regret it today. So what I'm saying to you, if you're young in a business and you got the time, maybe take that step after you've looked into it and you figure that's where you want to go. But certifications are a very big thing. They really are. They'll develop confidence in you and being able to do whatever you're going to do. And one of the things I want to pass on to you is if you're going to get into the land side of the business, there's a couple things you need to do, especially here in Charlotte County. And one is when you're talking to people about the community, you need to know something about it. This is one of two books written by U.S. Cleveland and Lindsay Williams years ago. Lindsay worked for the local Charlotte Sun newspaper. But these are two books like this. One's red copy, and this is a blue copy. This is the second copy. It tells about the history of the community. And this is good even selling residential. But the better side yet, if you really want to do acreage, is read this book called Land Remembered. This tells you how Florida became what it is. It's a story, but it's pretty factual. And it's a great, great read, and you can't put it down. I assure you, you can't read. You can't put down this read. I challenge you to read these two books or look them over. So with that.
That's great.
CCIM, of course, Certified Commercial Investment Member. That's general commercial real estate, I would say. But there's other ones. There's a SIOR, which is Society Industrial and Office Real Estate or Realtor or something like that. I'm not a SIOR, but they're more office and industrial. There's a Urban Land Institute, which is very expensive, and that's going with people that are well-heeled in land planning and large projects, but it's a wonderful organization. There's BOMA, Building Owners and Managers Association. Do you know how you buy a building, you know how you get more rent from it? Remeasure it. You get your BOMA book out and you say, well, they said it was 1,750 square feet, but if you measure it to BOMA standards, it comes out to be 1,762. Well, 12 more square feet times $10 a foot times 7 holes, it's more money. So there are things to know and learn. All of the BOMA, SIOR and CCIM are NAR designations. I'm a member of the National Association of Realtors, and CCIM's office is in NAR headquarters in Chicago. I go there. You know, we're like this, two peas in a pod. But realtors seem to, you know, you go to the MLS, I'm a member of the MLS, it's like 99% home selling agents, and I go to their things and I got nothing in common, right? Nothing. We do completely different stuff. Although I like people and I like to meet them and know them, and I do get some referrals, but in general, belonging to the MLS is worthless. I never sold or bought anything off the MLS in my life. I have it because I have a couple agents that kind of halfway practice.
We do have a commercial and all that stuff too.
Not in Fort Myers. You have the,
We, in our system, we do, and some of us do belong both sides, the regular general MLS, and then also the commercial side. And matter of fact, there's a bunch of people in Lee County have joined ours in here, yeah.
the reason they're doing that, that's a commercial exchange, isn't that what they're calling it?
No, it's not, it's
Anyway, CoStar and LoopNet, they're the premier. You need them to really practice because that's where everybody goes, and the buyers can go there. But CoStar bought LoopNet, and it went from like $384 a month for me to like $900 for LoopNet. CoStar is like $1,200. You have to belong to both of them. I'm spending $2,000 something a month just to access it. And I don't even buy everything. I don't buy the comps and stuff because I do enough research.
It used to be cheaper. It used to be about $3,000 a year, and then suddenly they bailed all of us out, and so some of us quit and some have stayed on.
A monopoly.
Yeah, oh yeah. But it's a great source of information. All the listings in there, commercial. It's a great source. And sometimes you can plug it in, just ask the question on the internet, and up it pops. And you can find out who's the brokerage house that has it, and you can make the phone calls and connect. It's that simple.
So obviously we can see that these three topics are vastly different than residential. So take advantage of the expertise in the room, ask them questions while they're here, post your questions, and you guys, thank you so much for participating in that.
Call us anytime.